Regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Board of Selectmen regular meeting to order on Tuesday, July 28th, 2026 at 7:30 PM. Quick introductions. I'm Paul Zolpa for Selectmen. Karen?
I am Karen Reddington Hughes, Selectman.
Richard Coates, Selectman.
Okay, please stand and like to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And Karen, would you like to lead us, please?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first order of business is a consideration and act and appointment of Sue Ellen Kamara as the new secretary for the board. Per section 403 of the town charter, the first selectman shall appoint a secretary to keep a record of the proceedings of the board. I therefore appoint Sue Ellen Kamara as Board of Selectmen secretary. There is no vote with that. Welcome, Sue Ellen. As you can see, we are now on Zoom. We've got a great technology person here, so hopefully, we'll see a lot of great things from Sue Ellen. And a lot of load off of me, thank God. All right, so first thing is the first selectmen's report. So our first thing is our ambulance activity. June was another busy month for the Woodbury Ambulance Association with 103 calls for service. While this represents a slight decrease from May's 111 calls, it continues to reflect a strong demand for emergency medical service and the ongoing dedication of the association's members who will work tirelessly to serve our community. Our police department handled 345 calls during the month of June. Activity included 205 officer-initiated actions, 103 patrol checks, 34 citizen assists, 15 debris, 9 suspicious incidents, 3 domestic incidents, 29 medical assists, 1 larceny investigation, and 1 untimely death. Officers also conducted 90 traffic stops during the month. Detailed monthly reports are available on our town website. Fire department activity they handled 30 dispatches during the month of June, including 5 fire incidents, 10 hazardous situations, 5 public service calls, and 10 non-emergency responses. Year to date, the department continues to provide critical emergency services to our community, and we thank our volunteer firefighters for their dedication and service. Public Works. During the first 3 weeks of July, the Highway Department maintained a full workload despite extreme heat, flash flood conditions, storm events, vacations, and extended employee absences. Crews performed maintenance, repairs, or improvements on more than 30 roads and municipal locations throughout town, including Churchill Road, Scuppel Road, West Woods Road, Flanders Road, Quassapog Road, Quassick Road, Middle Road Turnpike, Gray Fox Trail, and Old Town Farm Road, Brushy Hill Road, Peter Road, Main Street South, and numerous intersections and park facilities. Work included dirt road grading, drainage and catch basin repairs, culvert and curb work, paving and patching operations, sidewalk reconstruction, roadside mowing, brush and tree removal, sign and roadway safety upgrades, storm preparation and drainage inspections, and emergency responses for several downed trees called during and after the 4th of July holiday period. Crews also hauled and stockpiled roadway materials, completed infrastructure improvements at multiple drainage locations, and continued proactive maintenance efforts to improve roadway safety, drainage performance, and overall transportation infrastructure around town. Just on the side, I've gotten a lot of calls regarding, not seeing Public Works around, but I can tell you these guys have been extremely busy, and we're very proud of the work that they're doing. Parks access. Last month, we discussed concerns regarding overgrowth in several town open space areas. Since then, Park and Recreation, Public Works, Inland Wetlands, Conservation, the Pomperog River Watershed Coalition, and met with me on site to review conditions and identify areas where maintenance can occur while protecting environmentally sensitive areas. At Three Rivers Park, we developed new walking paths. They've been established and cleared. The work complements a broader restoration planning effort currently underway at the park through a $160,000 Long Island Sound Futures Grant awarded to Pomperog River Watershed Coalition. The project will develop engineering and landscaping design plans to improve stream bank stability, restore riparian habitat, and enhance long-term ecological health in that area. Overgrowth at the entrance to Oronog Park has been addressed, And at Stomsky Preserve, the pollinator pathway has been clearly identified, allowing a walking trail to be safely maintained. At Strong Preserve, we followed up with a landscaping contract to ensure regular mowing of the property. These efforts are helping to improve accessibility while preserving the natural resources that make these areas so valuable to our community. Today, Woodbury Animal Control was proud to receive its 2025 No Kill Shelter Award plaque for Best Friends of the Animal. And here's a
Oh,
copy of the plaque. Congratulations to them. The recognition reflects Woodbury Animal Control's achievement in maintaining a save rate of 90% or greater for the animals that entered its care. More than a statistic, this award represents a continued commitment giving animals a second chance and the community support that helps make this life-saving work possible. AD devices, we've got all the police cars now have brand new AD devices, and we also have installed one here in the show building. It's now located outside Ray's office and personnel above the water cooler. We were also begun discussions about providing AD training for employees at both the Shove and Boyd buildings as a starting point with the Woodbury Ambulance Associations. While dates have not been yet scheduled, the training will help ensure staff are prepared to respond in the event of a medical emergency. On our contract negotiation side, we've successfully completed contract negotiations with the police department. Negotiations with the supervisors union, the administrative assistants, and public works unions are still ongoing. And the fiscal audit side, our auditors completed their interim audit visit on June 29th and June 30th, and the fiscal office is working to provide all requested documentation by August 4th. The auditors will be returning August 18th through 20th for field work, with the final audit report expected in October. Additionally, all departments have been asked to submit their annual reports by August 7th to include a smooth process for our annual report. One of the things I mentioned last month was the COT-DOT Route 317 lane departure warning project. A meeting was held with them. They're right now working in Cheshire, but eventually they'll be coming back and taking care of that on Route 317. So that probably will occur sometime this summer. We've received some great news. We received a letter from the Connecticut Department of Transportation regarding the proposed transfer of state-owned land at South Green to the town of Woodbury. They have completed its review and approved the release of the property with the condition that it retain approximately 27 feet from the center line of US Route 6, ensuring that all the monuments and plaques will remain on land being conveyed to the town. The department will also retain any land or easements necessary for drainage infrastructure within the release area. CTDOT will now proceed with the preparation of a release map, which will be provided to the town for review. Once the map is completed, the conveyance will move forward through the required statutory approval process pursuant to Special Act 2614. So that's great news. We're definitely moving forward, and hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll actually take possession of the South Green. Repairs to the front stoop of the Old Town Hall are scheduled August 5th through August 9th. This is a safety issue. During the time, the front entrance will be closed, but the side entrance will remain open for public access. We appreciate everyone's patience while these improvements are being completed. Also, on the energy side, Titan Energy is working on an RFP for the town with the energy purchase agreement that's going to expire in February 2027. On the technology and cybersecurity side, grant funding for the transition of a .gov domain has been awarded. Project planning is currently underway. We anticipate the project will gain momentum once the new IT technician is hired. The transition must be completed by November 2027. The town of Woodbury now has an official Instagram account to share news, events, and community updates. The launch has been a success, and over the last 3 weeks, we've reached 185 followers. We encourage residents to follow the account and stay connected. And to improve accessibility, we'll begin piloting hybrid meetings, just like this evening, with the Board of Selectmen, allowing residents to attend either in person or remotely. And if successful, we hope to expand this approach to other boards and committees throughout the town. Our ERP system. This has been a bane for both our fiscal officer and our first selectman for several weeks or several months, actually. And our planning for the replacement continues to move forward. The evaluation process has been narrowed to 2 suppliers, ongoing meetings and demonstrations taking place with both vendors. The project team has reviewed each option and will be reviewing the award proposal this evening. Finally, upcoming events. Summer Concert Series, Woodbury's Park and Recreation Summer Concert Series continues at Hollow Park every Wednesday at 6:30. Remaining performances include Riverjack on August 5th, the Harold Zinno Jazz Quartet on August 12th, and please note that the Lost Rebel, originally scheduled for tomorrow night, has been postponed to August 26th due to the forecast of steady rain tomorrow. These concerts are free and open to the public. Residents are encouraged to attend and enjoy an evening of live music and community fellowship at Hollow Park. Please join Tree Warden Bud Neal and the Shade Tree and Sidewalk Committee this Saturday, August 1st at 9 a.m. for a morning of hands-on learning about how to care for and protect our community trees. This is the last week to sign up. Participants can sign up through my office by calling our number at 203-263-2141. Mark your calendars for the upcoming Coffee and Conversation with First Selectman Paul Zolpa, sessions at the Woodbury Public Library and the Senior Center. These informal gatherings will offer an opportunity to hear updates on town projects, ask questions, and engage in open discussions about community matters. Sessions are scheduled on Thursday, July 30th, which is this coming Thursday at 6:30 in the library gallery. Joining me will be our fiscal officer, Nairi, our Board of Finance Chair, Karen McWhort, and our Director of Public Works, Dave Bouchette. We also have a session scheduled for next Monday, August 3rd at the Senior Center, Wednesday, August 21st, and again in the library, and then Friday, November 6th at the Senior Center. As always, residents are encouraged to reach out to the First Selectman's office at any time and do not need to wait for these sessions to connect with me. The Pompanoag Valley Garden Club invites residents to attend its upcoming Brushstrokes event at Old Town Hall. The event begins with a champagne preview party on Friday, August 14th from 5 to 8. Tickets are $50 per person and can be purchased by calling 203-558-2248 or emailing brushstrokes@pompanoagvalleygc.org. The artwork sales continue on Saturday, August 15th from 11 to 4 and is free and open to the public. We encourage residents to come out and support this wonderful community event. Join Master Wildlife Conservationist Ginny Apple on Thursday, August 20th, 6:30 p.m. at the Woodbury Senior Center to discuss habitat, diet, behavior, and coexistence in living with black bears in Connecticut, which we definitely need here in this town. And then finally, the Pompanoag Valley Garden Club Centennial on October 10th. They will be sponsoring a Susan B. Shove hike and reenactment. Additional information about this event, along with others planned as part of their centennial celebration, can be found at the Woodbury Public Library website, as well as the Gardens Club website. Okay, next. We'd like to make an announcement. This is a Board of Selectmen announcement on community unity and respect. So tonight, the three members of the Woodbury Board of Selectmen speak with one voice. We have heard the concerns and reports. Neighbors have told us about hate rhetoric in our town and about the display of hate symbols that divide people, cause fear within minority residents, and leave families wondering whether they truly belong. We do not condone this conduct. We reject it. This board serves every resident, and that responsibility matters to all three of us. On June 19th, all three members of this board attended the Juneteenth commemoration at the North Green. The community gathered to honor General Order Number 3, which declared, in accordance with the Emancipation Proclamation from President Lincoln, that all slaves are free. These words changed lives. These words marked a turning point in our nation's history, and those words still remind us today that freedom carries meaning not only when people respect it and protect it. A few days later, on June 28th, all three members of the board attended the Pride Rally, also at the North Green. Residents gathered peacefully. Families gathered, friends gathered. Participants advocated for equality, visibility, and an end to discrimination. They exercised their right to stand together and speak openly about their experiences and hopes.
While these events differed in purpose, all three members of the board attended them. And both reflected a simple truth. People want respect, dignity, and the freedom to live openly without fear of hatred or exclusion. Our country rests upon principles that have guided generations. The Declaration of Independence states, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Those words have challenged every generation, and they challenge ours. Although some may seek to divide us, our nation was founded on the principles of respecting and embracing our differences. Together, we are stronger, and we will remain united in the face of those who try to pull us apart. Woodbury reflects many backgrounds, beliefs, experiences, and traditions that diversify, strengthens our town. It enriches conversations, builds understanding, and helps neighbors learn from one another. Hate symbols accomplish the opposite. They create fear, they encourage isolation, they damage trust that residents have worked for years to build.
Everyone deserves to live with dignity, safety, and freedom from oppression. Those who oppose these fundamental values do not reflect the spirit of our community. Today, that belief holds more true than ever. We do not ask residents to agree on every issue. Healthy communities include disagreements. Strong communities include debates. Civil communities allow people to express different opinions while treating one another with decency and respect. However, we draw a clear line when rhetoric targets people because of who they are. We draw a clear line when symbols intimidate neighbors. We draw a clear line when actions seek to make members of our community feel unwelcome. We stand for a Woodbury where every resident can walk through town, attend community events, raise a family, worship freely, and participate in public life without fear. The Board of Selectmen are united on this issue. We condemn hate rhetoric. We condemn hate symbols. We support the values of dignity, respect, and equal worth for every member of this community, and Woodbury deserves nothing less.
Thank you. Okay, item 5, Selectmen's comments. Karen?
Oh, busy with roads. DOT was contacted with Route 317 in Transylvania. It seems that the abutment that was placed there because of the bridge repair is actually obstructing some of the sight lines, and it's kind of a dangerous intersection now. So I'm hopeful that we will hear something back from them and they will be attentive to it. Also on Cam Avenue, the overgrowth of trees and everything towards the end of the street are obstructing people as they are coming into the road. So it's kind of gone from like a 2-lane, little neighborhood to like a 1-lane little neighborhood. So I think that Public Works said that they were gonna get out there and take care of that too. But that's it for me.
Okay, thanks. Richard?
I have one comment which actually came from the previous occupant of this chair, and that was to remind people that black bears are attracted to food. Actually, a good example is up at Sprucebank Farm. They've changed their food collection protocols. It's done more regularly, and they've had a significant drop off in the bear problems.
Oh, good.
They've had it there, so it does happen.
Good
Food
news.
does include bird food. It's feeding your birds. So if you must feed your birds, take the food in when you think the bears are going to be there, especially at night, early morning, late evening. That works too. Personalized feeds. So that's the comment that George asked me to remind people of. 2 questions for the first selectman. We have an outstanding issue on town marked parking liabilities.
Yes. So what I have is, Sue Ellen and I were talking that I lost that from the last meeting. I need to reach out to Paul Jessel, our town attorney, and have him advise us on the liability of marking that. And we'll be handling that. Sue Ellen and I will be handling that tomorrow.
Excellent. So then the second question is, are we any closer to trying the corridor study of the hot, sweaty hands?
My buddy hasn't called me yet, so I will, again, I'll reach out to him as well. But yes, we need to do that. I did receive a request from a resident on Main Street about adding a additional walking crosswalk to get to Hollow Park. There's
Down near
a
the deli, right?
yeah, right near the deli. Yeah, right near that cross area. And so we definitely need to get the corridor study in order to address that request. So we're working that. Okay.
That's it.
We're all set? Okay. Privilege of the floor. The Board of Selectmen will recognize citizens who are asked to state their name and address, and please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. Up to 20 minutes of statements per topic will be allowed. All comments should be addressed to the first selectman. Decorum will be enforced. Since we're running a hybrid meeting and this is the very first thing, we'll start with public comment in the room, and then we'll switch over to public comment if there is any online. So anyone here wish to speak? Reverend Tuesday.
Thank you, Reverend Tuesday Roop, 317 Main Street South, and the rector of St. Paul's Church, 294 Main Street South. And I just want to commend the Board of Selectmen for their vision and for their unified voice in the statement regarding the rejection of hate in our town, and the commitment that as representatives of the town or the people of this town, that every person should feel welcome, and that their lives are valuable. And I would say that, I will boldly state that not only on behalf of myself and my family, but on behalf of my congregation, thank you for that, and throw our support entirely behind such wishes. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comment? No. Anyone online? If you anyone online like to make a comment, if you just raise your hand, we'll recognize you. And seeing no hands, we'll move on. All right, correspondence. Several pieces of correspondence today. First one is from Lisa Bingham. Dear Mr. Legacy, please accept this letter as my resignation from my clerking responsibilities for the Historic District and Planning Commission for the town of Woodbury, effective June 25th, 2026. Thank you for the opportunity to serve the commissions. I've enjoyed working with the members and supporting their important work. Sincerely, Lisa Bingham. Next is Michael Duggan. He was one of our part-time custodians. Hi, Ray. Just wanted to let you know I'm putting in my notice of resignation. My last day will be Friday, August 7th. Thank you for everything. I appreciate my time here. Please let me know if you need any help wrapping anything up before I go. Best, Mike. Next is a letter of retirement. I, John White, am submitting this written notice to my employer, Town of Woodbury, to begin the process of retirement. Procurement to begin on the 24th day of July. Beginning the beneficiary of this account, I would greatly appreciate a timely and efficient process to secure my funds as agreed. Thank you for attention. In light of this request, I continue on with my employment till the 1st of August, 2026, and I agree to this request. Sincerely, John White. Next is from Officer Romano. Dear Selectman Paul Zolpa, I'm writing to formally notify you of my decision to retire as a police officer from the Woodbury Police Department. My effective retirement date is the 30th of June at midnight. I sincerely grateful for my 21 years of tenure with the town of Woodbury. During my time at the Woodbury Police Department, I've had the opportunity to meet and work with many professional and dedicated police officers. My experiences led me to work with several administrative secretaries, resident state police supervisors, and first select persons. I've had the opportunity to get to know and work closely with many town department heads and their dedicated employees. Each encounter was a wonderful experience. However, my greatest joy was my relationship with so many wonderful citizens of the town. In closing, let me reiterate my heartfelt thankfulness for the best years of my law enforcement career. Respectfully submitted, George P. Romano, LC 49, retired. So George is retiring for the third time, and he's told me he is not coming back. So. Next is we have a 4th of July letter from the mayor of the city of Norwich. Dear First Selectman Zolpa, as we celebrate the 4th of July, I extend my warmest wishes to you, your families, and the residents of your communities. Independence Day reminds us of the enduring values of freedom, democracy, and service that unite us as Americans. Thank you for your dedication to public service and to the leadership you provide your cities and towns. Wishing you a safe and joyful and memorable Independence Day. Sincerely, I'm going to kill his name, Swarnit Singh, Mayor of the City of Norwich. And I met him during a CCM meeting, a very nice guy. And we had a good chat about, the issues that are going on in a city that's fairly depressed and as compared to some of the things that we have here. So it was a great conversation with him. Let's see, finally is we have a letter from Rachel Smith to Susan Muchler. Dear Susan, thank you so much for the opportunity to work with you and the team at the Woodbury Public Library. I'm writing this letter to give you my formal notice of my resignation as a circulation assistant at the Woodbury Public Library. My last day of employment will be Thursday, August 20th. My hope is in giving you more than 2 weeks' notice, you will have the time to find the proper coverage for scheduling and new hiring in the months ahead. Please consider forwarding this letter to Human Resources and any additional audiences needed to finalize this process. I am grateful for my time spent working in the library, have learned much from the educated and committed staff, and I deeply appreciate your support in my time as an employee. Please let me know how I can support you and my team in the team in my final weeks. I wish you and the library staff all the best of the future endeavors. Okay, that was all of our correspondence. Next is minutes from the regular meeting of Tuesday, June 23rd. Karen, do this one.
Sure. I have no motions, but I would like to make a motion to accept the minutes as presented from the regular meeting of June 23rd, 2026.
Second.
Okay. Any additions, corrections?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Bid awards. Okay. Welcome. All right. So the first bid award. So we have a couple that we're going to do tonight. The first one is on the library flat roof project. So this is a capital project that was approved by the town in the last referendum. So I'd like to move to award the library flat roof project bid to the Roofer LLC based on the recommendations of the building maintainer, and the amount of $59,000 is the most responsive and responsible bidder in accordance with the bid specifications. I hear a second.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so we have a report from our Ed McGrath, our building maintainer, who's here with us this evening and can answer any questions that the board will have, but let me kind of walk through this. I am writing to formally recommend awarding the contract for the library flat roof project to the Roofer LLC in the amount of $59,000 with a total project cost not to exceed the approved capital budget of $75,000. The remaining $16,000 will be retained within the approved project budget to cover any unforeseen repairs and additional work that may be identified during the demolition phase of the project. The request for quote was prepared and advertised in accordance with the town's procurement policy. A site walkthrough with facilities management was requested for all interested bidders to ensure proposals accurately reflected the scope of work. The bid results were summarized below. The roofer bid $59,000. NSI Incorporated bid $78,400, and A1 Commercial Roofing bid $144,882. The Roofer LLC is a local roofing contractor that had successfully completed previous roofing projects for the town of Woodbury, including installation of the copper roofing on the front section of the library. They've consistently demonstrated quality workmanship, reliability, and professionalism in completing town projects. Based on the competitive pricing received, the company's proven performance, and its familiarity with town facilities, I respectfully recommend that the Board of Selectmen award their library flat roof project to the Roofer LLC for the amount of $59,000 with a total project cost not to exceed the approved capital budget of $75,000. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Ed McGrath, building maintainer. Any questions from Karen or Richard?
What were the other buildings that he has put roofs on here?
He recently repaired the Boyd building, replaced many of the slate tiles last summer.
Yeah.
And he's also done some repair work on the animal control building.
Yeah, I thought he's done quite a few.
Yeah, and he's given has bid on several of the buildings before in the past. Very responsive whenever I call him out. to take a look at something,
Thanks.
you know.
And he's awful lot around town, so it's
Yeah.
not like,
Yeah, absolutely.
he's been in business for a while, so it's not like, he'll be here to support us. All right, Richard, anything? Okay. All those in favor of awarding this bid to, the roofer?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next. You're up. So you just give us 1 second, we'll pull up this. So what I'm gonna do is, this next one is to look at awarding the ERP system. So let me make the motion and then we can actually walk through the presentation if that's okay. So we move to award the ERP system contract to OpenGov and to authorize the first selectman to enter into a 5-year agreement with OpenGov for the town's enterprise resource planning system with costs not to exceed $195,000 in year 1, $77,000 in year 2, $80,000 in year 3, $84,000 in year 4, and $89,000 in year 5, and to execute all documents necessary to effectuate this agreement. You're a second. Okay. All right.
So I'd like to take everyone through the comprehensive due diligence process we undertook to evaluate the ERP solutions and arrive at our recommendation for an ERP partner. This was a thorough review, a very deliberate process, and we focused on finding the best long-term fit for the organization. Before we began evaluating ERP solutions, we took a hard look at our current environment and identified several challenges. Our existing Tyler School ERP was originally designed for school districts. That's correct, school ERP, not municipalities, not governments, which has forced us to create workarounds for many of our core functions. Project and bond tracking is non-existent. Reporting capabilities are limited, and basic analysis such as year-over-year comparisons requires significant manual effort. At the same time, many of our processes remain very heavily paper-based, invoices, approvals, bringing over invoices to the fiscal office while you're driving it or walking it over, signatures and document storage. Everything relies on manual handling, creating inefficiencies and making information difficult to access. Departments often maintain their own copies of documents because that is easier than coming to the fiscal office and looking them over. We also found that our time and attendance system does not adequately support the complex payroll requirements of departments such as our police department. This results in substantial manual calculations and adjustments each pay period, which puts a lot of burden on my team. These challenges are not simply inconvenience, they consume staff time, limit visibility into our financial data, and make it more difficult to operate efficiently. Identifying and addressing these items and gaps became the driving force behind our ERP selection process. To ensure we made evaluation process, there we go. To ensure we made the right decision, we followed a very structured evaluation process. We began by defining our goals, identifying pain points, and assembling an evaluation team that included town leadership and key stakeholders. From there, we identified potential vendors, participated in online demonstrations, and obtained preliminary pricing to understand budget impacts. As we narrowed our options, we worked closely with vendors to identify any further gaps, gathered additional information, refined pricing proposals, and then we conducted in-person demonstration, as well as going through reference checks with existing municipal clients, engaged in multiple rounds of follow-up discussions to fully understand each solution's capabilities and the long-term fit for the town. The recommendation we are presenting today is a result of a thorough and deliberate process focusing on the ERP solution that best meets the town's operations, financial, and strategic needs. After identifying our challenges, we established a clear set of objectives for our new ERP system. The goal was not simply to replace our current ERP software, but to modernize how the town does business and operates. We were looking for a solution that would improve operational efficiency through automation, strengthen financial oversight and transparency, and provide modern workflows for approvals, document management, and records retention. We also wanted better reporting capabilities to support decision-making, budgeting, and long-term planning. In addition, it was important for us to address our current time and attendance limitations and provide a more comprehensive human resources platform that supports the whole entire employee life cycle, from recruiting and onboarding through retirement or separation. Most importantly, we wanted a scalable solution that can support the town's needs, not just for today, but for decades to come. So a couple of things that we thought about, what we're looking to gain. First one is going to be efficiencies and cost savings. So these improvements are designed to eliminate redundant processes, reduce manual work, and modernize how we handle invoices, approvals, and documentation. By automating routine tasks and reducing paper processes, staff can spend less time on administrative and more time on activities that add value, add to the organization as well as the community. 2 is stronger financial oversight and transparency. This initiative is about giving the town better visibility into its finances with real-time reporting, improved tracking of projects, grants, and bonds, and greater accountability at the departmental level. We will be better positioned to make informed decisions and strengthen our stewardship of taxpayer dollars. Next is compliance and risk reduction. A modern ERP system will strengthen compliance and reduce risk through automated time tracking, complete audit trails, and stronger internal controls, and enhanced cybersecurity protections. Next, mission impact through better data. Better data means better decisions. A modern ERP system will provide faster reporting, real-time insights, and improved planning tools to support information decision-making across the organization. Next, stability through growth. Scalability, sorry. Scalability through growth. Our current system has surpassed its limits. A modern ERP platform will provide a scalable foundation that supports future growth, evolving reporting requirements, and the town's long-term operational needs. Cost-benefit rationale. The value of this investment extends beyond the software. By reducing the manual work, the overtime, the compliance risk, and staff burnout, the town can operate more efficiently while improving transparency and service delivery. So on this next slide, I want to recognize the team that participated in the evaluation process. This included town leadership, Board of Finance representation, as well as the fiscal office staff. We wanted to ensure that the recommendation reflects both strategic priorities and the day-to-day operational needs of the organization, so it involves all levels. I do want to thank each and every one that participated for their time, for their feedback, their due diligence, and critical and their criticalness in evaluating the vendors and arriving at the recommendation. I do feel we have made the best decision we have been able to make. So the team, we started with pain points. So the pain points on this slide highlight why maintaining the status quo is no longer acceptable or sustainable. Limited automation, paper-based process, manual workarounds, reporting limitations. I've said it all before, but I've listed out a couple more here. Next slide. As part of our due diligence, we evaluated a number of ERP solutions against the goals and requirements we established for the town. After initial review, we narrowed the field down to 2 finalists, Tyler Enterprise ERP and OpenGov. Both demonstrated the strongest alignment with our operations, our financials, and our long-term needs. The remaining vendors were eliminated because they didn't meet key critical requirements and lacked the functionality that we're looking for. So to start out, our first vendor we evaluated was Tyler. Tyler was a strong contender throughout the evaluation process, especially towards the beginning. As a market leader in a municipal ERP system, it offers extensive functionality, a large municipal user base, and a platform that would feel familiar to staff since we already use a Tyler product today. However, concerns around implementation effort, ongoing consulting costs, customer service, data conversion limitations, and our prior experience with time and attendance implementation ultimately factored into our evaluation. We also considered whether the platform's complexity and breadth exceeded what the town needed, and the level of partnership that Tyler was ready to provide to us. So Tyler offers a mature, fully integrated municipal platform that can support financial management, HR, payroll, and revenue, and many other things. What we focused on was the financial management and the human resource module for them. The next slide just shows underneath financial management and human resources, everything that Tyler can do. It offers a comprehensive suite of integrated applications covering nearly every local government function. The key question for us was whether the added functionality and complexity provided sufficient value for what Woodbury needed for its operational needs. Next is the cost proposal from Tyler. Tyler's proposal reflects the cost of both implementing a comprehensive municipal ERP platform, as well as the subscription service that's required every year. In reviewing the proposal, both proposals, we look beyond the initial software costs and considered the implementation requirements, staffing impacts, future consulting needs, training, and ongoing support costs. So that also factored in. So for the Tyler system, the first year subscription cost was $62,524, and the first year implementation costs $200,000, $610, with travel just below $14,000, bringing the year one total to $276,834. As part of our due diligence, we also spoke with several Connecticut municipalities that use Tyler Munis, or Tyler Enterprise ERP, which it is now called. Overall, the feedback confirmed that Tyler is a capable and well-established municipal ERP platform. Most communities reported successful implementation that was delivered on time and within budget, and finance directors generally expressed satisfaction with system functionality. However, the conversations also revealed several recurring concerns. We repeatedly heard about implementation challenges, the need for significant staff involvement, additional process steps for end users, data conversion difficulties, and instances where customer support and communication did not meet expectations. Several municipalities also noted that while the software is powerful, it can feel complex and costly to maintain and expand. Next. OpenGov. OpenGov emerged as a strong candidate because of its modern platform, customer-focused approach, and commitment to implementation success. Unlike many traditional ERP vendors, OpenGov positions itself as a long-term partner with strong communication, dedicated support, and post-implementation expert services to help municipalities maximize the value of the system. The evaluation team was particularly impressed with the platform's ease of use, the integrated workflows, and focused on automation, transparency, and operational efficiency. We also found value in OpenGov's commitment to bring over 3 years of detailed historical data and its willingness to assume a larger share of the implementation workload, reducing the burden on the town staff. While there are some considerations, including being the first municipality to go live in Connecticut on the ERP platform that they have, and adapting to a new user experience, their overall feedback suggested that OpenGov offers a modern, innovative solution that aligns well with Woodbury's goals and long-term vision. This slide highlights OpenGov's integrated approach. Financial management sits at its center with payroll, budgeting, procurement, permitting, asset management, and transparency tools all working together in a single platform. The benefit here is less duplication, better data, and a more connected operation across town departments. We do currently use OpenGov for permitting and licensing software, as well as many other Connecticut municipalities, and we are very happy with that. So this slide outlines the specific OpenGov modules that are included with our proposal today and what we evaluated. Our focus was on selecting the functionality that directly addressed the challenges we identified during the evaluation process, not purchasing technology for the sake of technology, purchasing the functionalities that we need as a town and to make better decisions. On the financial side, this provides modern general ledger, accounts payable, invoice management, bank reconciliations, purchasing card management, fixed assets, reporting, and dashboards. For budgeting, it adds workforce planning, capital budget, budget books, online budget books, and real-time performance reporting. For payroll and human resources, it includes payroll processing, time and attendance, recruiting, onboarding, benefit administration, scheduling, compliance, and analytics. Together, these modules provide an integrated platform that replaces many of our current manual processes. I know Ray will appreciate the not having to do the human capital in Excel anymore, and creates a foundation that can support the town's needs well into the future. So this was the OpenGov proposal. The proposal represents a comprehensive ERP solution that includes financial management, budgeting, payroll, human capital management, and advanced reporting, as well as their ongoing expert services. The first year cost reflects both the software and the professional services required to implement the platform, just like Tyler did. One of the factors that stood out during the evaluation in OpenGov's was their approach to implementation. Their implementation cost is fixed, providing greater budget certainty and reducing the risk of unexpected consulting charges. In addition, the proposal includes post-implementation expert services to help ensure the town continues to receive support guidance after go live. So that were to mean they currently right now we're in the process of renegotiating some labor contracts. If we need to make a change, the way things exist with Tyler School is they would actually come up with a quote for us and say, here's what it's going to cost to do that change. OpenGov automatically includes that, which really makes them feel more like a partner. So when evaluating this investment, we look not only at the cost, but the operational efficiencies, the automation, the reporting improvements, and long-term value the town will receive from a modern integrated ERP platform. So with OpenGov, so the first year, when we're talking about the yearly subscription cost is $66,000, and the professional services for the first year to implement is $123,000. I do have a comparison in a couple slides that shows the difference between the two. As part of our due diligence, we conducted reference checks with municipalities that had recently implemented OpenGov, including several that were also first implementations in their state, like we will be in the state of Connecticut. We specifically asked about implementation, customer support, project management, data conversion, and overall satisfaction. The feedback was remarkably consistent. Municipalities described OpenGov as responsive, knowledgeable, easy to work with. We repeatedly heard that OpenGov acted as a partner rather than simply a software vendor, taking time to understand local workflows and helping communities adapt to the system to their operational needs. Every person I personally spoke to offered us an opportunity to get on a Teams or Zoom call so they can demonstrate how they use their own software. We did take up 3 different references, and we did look at how they were using the software. Equally important, nearly every reference reported that the project was delivered on time and within budget. While some implementations challenges were noted, as would be expected with any ERP project, all issues were addressed timely and collaboratively and did not derail the overall success of the implementation. Several references had previous experience with Tyler or other municipal ERP platforms, and specifically cited OpenGov's customer service communication and willingness to respond to customer needs as key differentiators. Those conversations gave the evaluation team a high degree of confidence in both the product and the partnership. So one reference that really stood out was Candace Webster from Mount Pleasant, Texas. They've been an OpenGov customer since 2012 and recently migrated from OpenGov's on-premises payroll system to their cloud. Candace confirmed everything we have been hearing about OpenGov's customer service, the easy use and commitment to the innovation. What particularly was telling was her willingness to personally speak with the board if anything was needed, saying, if you need me to talk to your board, just let me know. That level of confidence and advocacy speaks volumes about their experience with OpenGov. So this next slide is the cost comparison slide between Tyler and OpenGov. While cost was not the primary driver of our decision, it was obviously an important consideration. After evaluating the software, implementation support, and long-term operational impacts, OpenGov provided a much more favorable overall cost structure while also addressing the town's key objectives around automation, reporting workflow, and customer support. More importantly, OpenGov's implementation pricing is fixed, as I mentioned, which provides greater budget certainty and reduces the risk of unforeseen consulting costs. While combined with the reduced burden of town staff and the strong reference feedback regarding implementation success, we believe OpenGov offers the strongest overall value for the town. So as you can see, we had a budget, our year one budget was $245,000 between the capital and the subscription cost. Tyler came over by almost $32,000 and OpenGov was under by 50. And how we arrived to the 245 is we kind of figured that both systems would be acceptable. And we really just kind of took the highest of both to get a good target as we were doing our first demos back in December. So these reflect after we've had the conversations, after we've kind of gone into the functionality and understood what we needed. So Tyler was over by 32,000 over what they first said they would offer to us. Next slide. Both solutions, so this is just a software comparison. Both solutions met our core requirements. Tyler's strength is in its depth and maturity, while OpenGov's strengths are usability, automation, and reporting, and also transparency. Based on our evaluation, OpenGov provides the best balance of functionality, efficiency, and user experience. When you look at the communication comparison, throughout this evaluation, one of the clearest differences between the vendors was communication and engagement. While both companies offer capable ERP solutions, our experience working with them was noticeably different. Tyler participated in the process and responded to our requests, but communication was often delayed, follow-up was inconsistent, and it sometimes felt as though we were just a customer among many. OpenGov, they took a much more hands-on approach. They were highly responsive, followed up promptly, provided detailed materials after every meeting, and invested significant time in understanding Woodbury's specific needs. They actually went as far as to build demonstrations using actual Woodbury payroll scenarios to make sure we were comfortable with their system. Perhaps more importantly, we consistently felt that OpenGov viewed us as a partnership rather than a sales opportunity. That experience aligned closely with what we heard during our reference checks and gave us confidence in their ability to support the town throughout implementation and beyond. So our recommended software, as a thorough evaluation, the team unanimously recommends OpenGov as the town's ERP partner. OpenGov's solution directly addresses the operational challenges we identified, including workflow automation, reporting, document management, time and attendance, and financial transparency. In addition to meeting our functional requirements, OpenGov demonstrated a strong commitment to implementation success, transparent pricing, and long-term partnership. The platform provides opportunities for significant efficiency gains, reduces organizational risk, and establishes a scalable foundation that can grow with the town's future needs. Based on the overall evaluation, we believe OpenGov offers the best combination of functionality, value, support, and fit for the town of Woodbury. Oh, there's another one. There should be two more. Oh, there we go. Procurement of the software. The recommendation we have tonight includes a bid waiver utilizing the competitively awarded Sourcewell cooperative contract. The town attorney has reviewed this approach and determined it is permissible under Connecticut law. This allows the town to move forward efficiently while still meeting the intent of a competitive procurement process. Next one. So next steps, assuming approval of the recommendation for the bid waiver, the next step will be to finalize procurement through the Sourcewell cooperative contract and complete our review of the statement of work. Following issuance of purchase order, we will formally launch the project and begin engaging departments throughout the organization. The implementation phase will include development of a new chart of accounts, system configuration, data conversion, integrations, testing, and staff training. This will be a phased and collaborative effort involving town staff and OpenGov implementations team. While this is a significant project, it also is an opportunity to modernize many of our core business processes. Our target is the September 2027 go live, positioning the town with a modern, efficient, and scalable ERP platform for years to come. The work doesn't end at just selecting the vendor. It's just the beginning of a bigger, stronger foundation for the town's future. Last one, working closely with OpenGov, we developed this implementation timeline to guide the town through each phase of the project. So you can see it's kind of a scaled project, starting with financial management, immediately starting to dive in, assuming this is approved in August. The next section would be the budgeting and performance, which that will start in December. We'll start to configure that. And last but not least would be the human capital management and the payroll, starting in January, with a September go live for everything.
Well done, Irene.
So I've been living with this for the last 6 months, so I don't have a lot of questions, but I know, this is a big deal. This obviously is something that, I recognized being on the Board of Finance for 4 years prior to becoming first selectman. Our ERP system is extremely lacking. And the fact that we have, running double book on this, half of our system needs to be run on spreadsheets. And as Nairi said before, that trying to find documentation, if I have a question, like how much did we spend in Vancourt over the last 4 years? It takes almost an act of God to get that information together, right? And so I think, looking at the capabilities that we have with OpenGov, I think that's going to be a whole different tact on that. And the fact that invoices are going to be online, POs are going to be online, all the documentation is going to be, easily pulled up. We're not going to have to run down the hall to see Stephen, or having to constantly call up one of the department heads to find out what's going on. And the other thing that's huge is Nairi has just experienced our year-end closing. And, she's been in my office several times saying she quits. Because it's an absolute nightmare. And you'll see that, we have about 479 line items in our budget, and about 100 of them were over budget. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that our old system doesn't flag when somebody goes over budget. And so it's very simple to continue to submit POs until we get to the end of the year, and then we realize that the thing is over budget. Going to a new ERP system is going to help fix that, and hopefully, it'll change the way that we're actually doing this year-end stuff. So, there's a lot of things, and this system that we pick is going to be affecting this town for at least another 15 years. So this is an extremely important decision that we're making tonight. I can tell you, it's not being done lightly from either the fiscal office, the Board of Finance, or myself. So. We do have 2 members from OpenGov here. If we have any questions, you get it directly with OpenGov. We also have the chair and vice chair of the Board of Finance here. So basically, the entire evaluation team is here as well. So if you guys have any questions.
How many different systems, do we presently use for all of our departments?
So the different systems, so the school ERP basically does our payroll and our financial management. We have OpenGov that has the permitting, the tax collector and the tax assessor. They have their own software. So that would be the third one.
Excel.
And
Excel.
I can't forget Excel.
That's a good one.
because I know like in the library is a different one, and the Parks and Rec has a different one. Are any of these systems capable of transitioning the departments into a single system?
So that actually is probably, save that question for the next the next, because that'll be the website.
Oh,
So what we're talking in here is really
Yeah.
the entire ERP system. So this is basically our financials, our budget reporting, and the human resource piece of it.
right, but I'm just looking at a total budget and how do you draw in all of that information if you're using a different thing here, a different thing there? I mean, it just makes it very cumbersome, to have to feed all this information again into another system because it doesn't exist in yours.
So both systems have the capabilities
Mhm.
of expanding and having more offerings. For example, OpenGov has like basically tax revenues and tax collections. They also have like a grants program where we can actually manage our grants.
Uh-huh.
So it's something that we can leverage on over time. Nothing happens overnight, but it's definitely as we move into the suite and are able to get more real-time reporting and dashboarding,
Yeah.
then we can start looking at more collaboration among the departments for different systems.
Well, for example, okay, because I mean, this is a question that has been asked many, many times. Okay, like we'll take, for instance, the transfer station. Okay, will we ever have like a way to break things down so that we actually see like the amount of things that are going through, the amount of, poundage, whatever? I mean, all of that, or no?
It depends. So again, in this ERP system,
Mhm.
one of the things that we need to do is we need to establish what's called a chart of accounts, right? Which is basically a breakdown of all the things that are in the budget. So measuring those types of things is actually probably mixing a second system to this, right?
Mhm.
Because again, this is financials and budgeting with a budget perspective of the amount of money that we're spending in each one of these different things. So, so the tracking of that is actually going to be probably in a different system. It may end up in this one, but we're not 100% sure at this point, right? And I think the key on this is that it's a growing system, right? It's almost like what we did with our GIS. If you remember, we got GIS, and then they have a number of other modules that you can add in, and that's one of the things that we're seeing with OpenGov is that they have these other modules, but they're also, because of being a partner, if we have suggestions, they're willing to listen and help us either, number one, establish a way to do these metrics, or number two, is actually create a module to go through and do that. So I think
Yeah.
we
You
can get
do
to that
something.
point.
And my last question is OpenGov. I mean, I know that you've said that Tyler has really more than what we need for a town, but with OpenGov, are we going to wind up in the same position, 10 years down the road that we are right now with Tyler, because now we don't have enough of the things that we need?
No, because
No.
OpenGov has very strong innovation under their belt. The way they're doing things yesterday is not the way they're doing things today. And they're always, from what I've heard from the feedback, is they're always looking to push the norm. They're looking for what's the next best thing. A lot of times we've told them too, hey, if you're going to go into the website business, that'd be like a perfect tie to everything.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you can add things.
Yes.
Okay.
And so like the other modules that are available, I said we talked about the tax cycle, procurement, like so rather than post RFPs on our website manually, they have a system that can do that. Their capital asset management system,
If you go back on page 20 is what
which Ed would love, that's where we could keep track of all of our buildings, what's in the buildings, when have things been maintained. It's just a lot to do in a short period of time. So if we start with the core financials and then we can expand from there, we will literally have a system that will blow our minds. Like it'll keep track of a lot. And I think OpenGov, I don't know, Sanera or Jack, if you want to comment in on the innovation.
Yeah, absolutely. Evening, everybody. Thanks for having us virtually. We would have loved to have been there. Yeah, my Jack Ragnoni. I serve our Northeast region here, based out of our Boston office. Yeah, it's a great question. So the way we're approaching it, we serve over 2,000 partnerships across the country, and where we build and where we focus our development and our investment as an organization is based on the feedback. we get from our customers. In a few months, the town's actually going to see a significant upgrade and improvement to your existing partnership with permitting and licensing. And that same approach is how we're thinking about our ERP. So there's a lot of opportunity for the town to take areas that are done maybe in a fragmented system and bring that underneath the OpenGov umbrella for further centralization. But there's a lot of opportunities and projects we've done with towns similar to Woodbury size too, in terms of size.
We spent a little bit of time with Mike, help me with the name of the town in Pennsylvania, Chittenden.
Cheltenham.
Yes. I was blown away with some of the stuff that they did with like their permitting system. One of the things that they did was they actually have their contractors requesting police private duty. It actually comes in through their system. They've actually created forms, and they're utilizing stuff in there that you would think that, or, building permits. It does a myriad of other things, and it's just basically, whatever you can think of, it probably can be done. And that was one of the things. We spent 2 hours with this guy. He spent a lot of time with us trying to, show us all the innovation, and we're going like, oh my God, can we do this now? And that's one of the things that Jack had just mentioned is the permitting stuff. We actually took a look at that with Lisa Bingham, and what the new system that's coming out is going to be absolutely incredible for a building. Hopefully is going to help with zoning, planning, and stuff. So, and that's the way that the company's innovating. I've got 40 years of IT experience, and I'm pretty excited with these guys. One of the things that scared me at the very beginning is the fact that they don't have anybody in Connecticut. And I always learned that you don't want to be the first in line, right? But it's the first in line in Connecticut, but we're not the first in line ever, right? They've got a lot of outside firms that are outside Connecticut municipalities that are using it. And from what I've seen, I'm pretty comfortable that they're going to cover us for the next 15 years.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. If we could just, Karen,
Karen McWhirter, Board of Finance Chair. Back to an earlier question that Karen Reddington Hughes asked relative to integration of the departments. I think that talking about the different softwares they're using is different than what the ERP system is going to be doing. When a department puts a purchase order into the system, there is going to be a check against their budget, and they are going to know right then and there if they have a budget problem, if something else has to be done. It will electronically be going through the system as opposed to this mass dump that goes into Paul's office now. In addition to that, there is a budget book that will have multiple versions to it that the department head is going to be able to enter and participate in the process, as opposed to what we do currently right now, where they gather that information, it goes to the fiscal department, they have to load it in and create a large paper notebook that kills many, many trees. So there is a centralization relative to a lot of the reporting. It might not be their software they're using in the tax office or the software that they're using in the building department, but as far as the financial management of the town, it will be in all departments.
Another benefit is the fact that these all POs just come to me. All right. And then you can go up in my office right now. I probably have 150 waiting to be signed off, and, one's for $38 and one's for $200,000. So everything comes in. We have a problem where one building manager may decide that they want to go off to a contractor, and Ed doesn't know about it. And Ed's responsible for building maintenance. So one of the things that this new system will be able to do is anything that's got to do with building maintenance gets routed to Ed first. So Ed will be aware of everything. He can then click, he can say, yes, this looks like it's good. And then it comes to me for approval. So I think that it's going to add another layer of accountability going through. And it's going to help me specifically, and help anyone in that first selectman's position in the future in being able to manage financially. Making sure that we're spending the money correctly. Richard.
Just a couple of quick questions. This is a relationship we're entering into for at least 5 years, and probably much longer.
Yes.
So it's safe to assume that you're happy that OpenGov has the corporate stability to be around for that length of time?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And the references, were they growth sets supplied by the relevant companies?
They were both. There were some that I got from the companies directly. And then as we were going through this process, if we had spoken to other vendors or other towns, I had called those references too. So for example, the account executive for Tyler, her name is Christine. Christine came here on demo day and I said, hey, can you tell me what town in Connecticut has recently implemented Tyler ERP? And she's like, oh, well, none. I gave you a list, and the list was like ones that were provided in like 2020. And then I talked to the director of IT in Southington, and I was just calling him because they were actually looking at migrating to OpenGov. The project just became too large of a financial project, and they leveraged Tyler and said, hey, if you can do X, Y, and Z, we'll stay with you. But I did have a very in-depth conversation with him too. So this was a follow-up call that I had 3 months later to say, okay, now you stay with Tyler, you're implementing Pattern Stream. And that reference I had up on the presentation, and he said a lot of things like drop the ball, nightmare. So just not very good things. So anyways, he said, well, but why did you call Danbury? I just heard Danbury implemented Tyler Munis. So I called them and they just implemented on July 1st. Now how the account executive wouldn't have known that or told me. And I did talk to that guy. And he was one of the references. And as I started diving in deeper, where he said, yeah, well, it's not perfect yet. We're having problems with reporting. We're having problems with the bank reconciliations. So nothing with the Tyler, no one that I talked to at Tyler was everything completely smooth, by far.
But
So
it wasn't just,
The OpenGov references came from OpenGov.
but also, so we actually had a demo with another company called Horizons, which was more of a forecasting company. And they had actually given us a name of someone that just had gone live with OpenGov. So that was one of the OpenGov references as well. So I kind of got ones that were provided from the company, but then also ones that, I either knew through the grapevine or heard through the grapevine.
That's great, because you don't just want the Amazon 5-star
Right.
review.
Yeah.
So the last one's a question for us as a town. I have some visibility of another organization that just implemented a new software system. And the question comes up is, did we get value for money or did they get value for money? And their answer was, yeah, we did, but we can't measure it because we don't know how long things used to take. So even if we can measure how long things.
so can we prove efficiency, right?
Yeah.
Objectively, right?
Right, so the
Quantitatively.
the citizens, the residents, and say, we spent this money, and look, this is what we got for it.
Right.
So that's just something for you guys.
And I think, I think we'll start to see that as we look at, the PO improvements, we're going to see that actually, whenever we get this implemented is to what our year-end closeout's going to look like. So I think that, how many times are we going to have, outside the system metrics, right? Like what we're doing, if you recall, our bond reporting, right? And all of the other, the special revenue grants or the special revenues and everything else, everything was all done outside the system. We need to prove, and I think that's going to be something that we go back to the residents and say that, yes, there have been a set of efficiencies, and this is why we have a common set of books. I think the second thing is that, as I said last month, we have had some major issues with bond tracking, and I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that we are running double books. So if we have any other financial issues, it's gonna come out in spades. So I think that there's going to be some ways to show that we have the amount of money that we're spending on this is the right thing.
Jack, can you add some clarity to that too, with efficiencies that other towns have seen?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great question, right? It's by no means a small dollar amount, right? It's an investment, and the town's spoken very well to that. The way we think about return on investment, so the town's identified numerous areas where manual processes and paper pushing more, to put a name to it, is holding them back. so a few communities that we've worked with, just to give you a few examples. There's a city out in Texas actually, but the city of Grapevine, they went from a very similar paper manual invoice processing overview, and they went from spending about 17 hours a week on invoices down to 2. We just brought on a partnership out in the city with the city of Easton in Pennsylvania, and we did a comparison of, hey, how long do you take week by week to put together your purchase orders, your requisitions? At the end of the month, how much time are you spending manually reconciling between Excel and then your legacy ERP system? And when we looked at the hourly rate that the finance team was spending, conservatively, they're going to see in the range of about $90,000 to $120,000 just in salary cost savings in the first year. So we'll continue to work with, the town's going to be able to identify areas of improvement as we go through this process. And there's numerous other communities that have either been able to find time savings just in putting together the budget. The city of Ashland, Oregon saves about $100,000 a year working with OpenGov based on their prior process. So we feel really confident about this project and excited to kind of see what the return Woodbury sees.
No other questions.
Okay. Question in the back.
Yes, Stephen Bullock, 122 Curtis Road Extension. It's not a question, it's actually a point. I've worked in financial software for 40 years. I have to say your presentation was fantastic. As one thing I think you need to watch out for is based on that presentation that the company don't actually try and employ her as a salesperson.
So the account executive, Sidars, she's been nodding. She's going like, she's going to take this recording and go from there. So, yep. Thank you. Andy.
I'm Andrew Sherman, 41 East Hill Road, and a member of the Board of Finance. Nairi, could you or some of the others touch a little bit on the impacts on our staff and our procedures during the planned rollout and during the period of time, if there are any, where we're really running the two systems side by side?
The big impact for us as a team is going to be really defining the chart of accounts, and that, Paul is going to provide feedback on Karen, Stan. Defining the whole chart of accounts is really going to be the key to success of this project. And we'll be able to leverage OpenGov to be able to use the new chart of accounts that we create and the data that we extract, or the database that they extract, if we can get them to do that from an OpenGov perspective, to get it from Tyler School ERP. They're actually going to be able to do a lot of the heavy lifting. One of the key differences between Tyler and OpenGov, when we asked, like, what's the workload going to look like on the town, Tyler said 70% town, 30% them. And then OpenGov basically said it's 40% town, 60% them. So a lot less work on the town. And they've been very engaging. So again, when we provided some payroll examples, like, hey, how could you make this work to make sure that they could handle our time and attendance for our different shifts, for our call out pays that we do for public works, for the double time, the time and a half, they stepped up to the plate. So I believe they're going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Where we're going to come into play is going to be with the testing of the data, the training. So everyone's going to know that we're going to have to step up to the plate in order to make this happen. Mm-hmm. But it's really going to be to make our processes a lot better and more efficient. So, for example, a lot of the towns that we talked to with OpenGov talked about giving read-only access to the auditor. So rather than, they give you a list of 50 samples of AP invoices, well, here you go, auditors. You can actually go in, you can pull the invoice copies, you can print them, you can look at the audit, everything's there. Now everything's so manual where we're pulling the manual invoices. I'm like, can we check that everything is signed before we, before we can that in so we know what we're coming into. So it'll definitely be some effort by the town. I think the biggest effort is going to be developing the new chart of accounts. From there, I think it's a matter of the extraction of the data from Tyler, which OpenGov has said they will help us with. And then they're going to be doing a lot of the data work. You know, I've been part of prior system implementations where I'm taking the data from the old system, I'm putting it into a spreadsheet, and I'm uploading it and validating it. They're taking a lot of that heavy lifting off of us. But again, it'll be dependent on, the training of the employees, the user testing, the validation of the data. But once we put that work forward, it is going to make our lives so much easier.
So one of the things, Andy, I think we're going to do, and I've talked to Karen McCord about this, is actually getting some folks from outside to help with the testing, because I think that's going to be one of the heavy items here once we get going, right? Validating whether the data came over correctly and such. So Karen's already volunteered to help with that. I think she's probably reaching out to other.
Important part of my question.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's because obviously we have a staff of 3, and trying to validate 3 years worth of budget data is and that's not just budget data, it's detailed transactional data. It's going to be tough. So I think we are going to be reaching out for some other help. Also, later on in the agenda, we're going to be talking about trying to hire an IT technician, and hopefully we'll be able to tap that person as well, with helping with some of the project management piece of this, as well as some of the testing. So it's going to be a challenge. It's definitely going to be a challenge. And honestly, be right up front, we had to tone down OpenGov because we could actually have gone live with this thing much, much quicker. But we don't think that we had it's going to be the town actually holding OpenGov back rather than OpenGov holding the town back. They're going to go as fast as we can provide the information and the support that they need. Anybody else? Like I said, this is extremely important. Excuse me. Normally we don't do this with when we're going. We have a motion on the floor. But if anybody else has any questions, we're more than happy, because this is, again, something very, very important for the town.
Was there an online question too?
There was a question. He left already, but
It related to the budgeting. That was part of the reason that I answered it.
Okay.
Wanted to know, Michael. Right there, the law department.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think, using legacy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so basically that's what we're gonna end up doing is once all the detail comes through, we'll be checking previous budgets, making sure actuals line up, all of that other stuff. So that's all gonna be part of the validation process going forward. Hopefully we can automate some of that. Okay. So back on the board. So just to remind everybody that we have a motion on the floor to award the ERP system contract to OpenGov and authorize the first selectman to enter into the 5-year agreement. Any other discussion from you two? Okay. If not, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Congratulations, guys.
No, thank you very much. We're excited for the partnership, and now we
Good
get
job,
to do the fun stuff. Thank you, Nairi.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. The next bid, just lost all my stuff here, is to talk about the vendor for our website. So we can pull that up. Hold for a second while while we're bringing that up. So basically, we're starting to look at replacing our vendor for our website. So right now, the user experience today is basically we're an information provider. We have a lot of data on the homepage. It takes many links to click through to try and find information. To find anything with alerts, calendars are a mess, announcements all compete for attention. It's a document-centric navigation. You've got to click through a lot of information to find like agendas, minutes, ordinances are difficult to find. Everything's in PDF documents. The search function that we currently have today relies specifically on which department you're looking for. Trying to find that information is darn near impossible, and there's too many navigation choices, and the content is varies based upon who the department is on there. Also, the workload on this is basically established with one person. We have a single webmaster, and they control the entire website. Next chart. So we have a DOJ requirement to make all municipal websites ADA compliant for the size of our town. It needs to be done by April 26, 2028. The rule requires us to be compliant with a set of key standards, looking at website pages, online forms, PDFs, meeting information, tax and permitting portals, mobile applications, and such. Our current website is not compliant, and for us to try and get compliant is going to cost us a lot of time and money. And it really points to we need to replace our website in order to make this accessible. So one of the things that we put together, so we had a small team of folks that were working on this, which included some department heads as well as Nairi and myself. And we established what our digital vision is. Basically, we're looking for a digital platform that should deliver services, engagement, and personalized resident experiences. So we're moving from a pull information to try and push information, and also presenting the information with a tailored to whoever the user is coming in there. So we're going to evolve from a digital bulletin board to a digital town hall, allowing residents to interact with the government anytime, anywhere through a single, easy-to-use platform. Next chart. So we're moving from an information delivery to resident engagement. Basically, we publish information, the residents search for forms, and the communication is mainly one way. A CRM-centric website would mean that we would create a resident profile and then be some type of interaction so they can actually see the information that's going back and forth. It'll support personalized services, enable a two-way communication between residents and the town, and we can utilize this to push information rather than just pulling. So it's a better resident experience and improved customer service. So we were looking for a platform, again, just like what you saw in the ERP system, something that's scalable for future digital government initiatives. It does not require a redesign every time a new service is added. And just to have a side example of, what we talked about earlier is that we have an Instagram account, and us trying to put the Instagram logo on our website would have cost us a lot of money because we had to go back and have the front page designed. So we're looking for something that would allow us to interact and modify pages very simply. Expansion capability for future services. Again, just like what you're seeing with the ERP system, we're looking for something that we could utilize as the town grows and as we look to do more workflow automation and being able to track things that we want to be able to expand those services as we deem. So we'd allow expansion into those citizen requests, online transactions, communications, utilization of AI, automation, and then also data and reporting. So one of the things that we did was we went in to take a look at who is using what to try and find a set of providers for our website. And focused again on NVCOG, looking at the 19 municipalities that are in NVCOG and to see which vendors they're actually using. And you can see that Civic Plus has about a 32%. There are about 6 of the 19 are in Civic Plus. QCent Technologies is a Woodbury-based company that actually was bought by Catalyst, who is the next person over at 16%. So actually Catalyst, if you take those two together, they actually, between those two, actually have the highest percentage of the NVCOG municipalities. Then there's EvoGov, which had 2 or 3. Then there's Civic Lift, there was 1, Revise, and then one of the towns has their own website development that was done. So Civic Plus was one of the primary leaders. Go to the next page. So we take a look at all of those suppliers. We looked at basically the primary focus of what these vendors do, whether they do have a CMS type platform, which stands for customer management, and then is how is their website platform? Do they have an ability to do citizen requests, and what's their ADA and accessibility? And then also how they manage their meeting and agenda tools. And each one of these suppliers has pluses and minuses going through. They are all some type of expandability, but one of them, some of these just focus on some very specific things like citizen requests, but are really not a strong emphasis, for example, on meeting and agenda tools. Whereas we go through, and that's one of the things that we think is very important as we kick this off. Right, next page. So we've been focusing on Civic Plus. Civic Plus again is one of the leaders in actually across the nation. They have pretty wide offering, and there's a number of municipalities across the country that are utilizing Civic Plus. They've been around a long time, and they actually have a very expandable platform. So you can see that they do things like utility billing, they do asset management, they have a mass notification system, they have a code called Municode codification, which is the centralization of ordinances and charters. They have ability to do social media archiving, so on and so forth. The three areas that we're focused on right now are the municipal websites, the web accessibility, meaning the ADA compliance, and then we're looking at agenda and meeting management. So Civic Plus has got a pretty flexible platform. So if we look at what we're proposing in the digital vision, this company actually meets all of our requirements of the vision. So kind of following along, not as in-depth as my colleague, we did do an evaluation. We actually took all of our department heads and we had multiple reviews with a strong focus on, again, one of the things, Karen, you had mentioned, trying to start to unify this because some of our departments have their own websites. So one of the things that we're trying to do is to bring everyone in to have a common branding as well as a common platform. And so there was a review through this, and so the thoughts are mixed in just trying to do that. So I think we have some of our own work trying to bring everyone together. However, everyone said that this platform would actually work for them in trying to bring everyone together. So there was multiple reviews with Civic Plus. We had interviews outside, not as expensive, not as extensive as Nairi did, but one of the things I reached out to Roxbury, so I talked to Patrick Roy, and he directed me over to his IT person and had a long conversation with them about the implementation of this and whether they support it or not. And they're very happy with Civic Plus. It gave them improved workflow and productivity. Very happy with that. They were just starting to expand into another module, having a little bit of work going through that, but that's because they actually have to change their processes to move into that. Middlebury, I had a conversation with Jen Marr today. They've already were a Civic Plus user, and they migrated to the most current platform, mainly because of the ADA compliance issues. So that was one of the reasons why they did that. But they did see improved functionality going through. She's extremely happy with the platform that they have. Our bid, so basically, like what Nairi did, we reached out to Paul Jessel. He reviewed this, and what Civic Plus has is they've got a contract in the GSA system, and so we worked through with them, and basically the year one cost would be a total of $57,595. That includes the initial implementation, training, and consulting. And as you can see, they'll bring over up to 200 pages of content. We'll actually have a designer from Civic Plus to come over and help us design the website. There's system training, audio eye implementation, which basically is taking every document that we bring over and will apply ADA compliance to each one of those documents and bring each document up to ADA compliance. The other thing that Audio Eye does is it actually monitors it. So every time that we put a new document in, Audio Eye will scan that and will set that up for ADA compliance. So not only will it bring us into ADA compliance at the very beginning, but it'll also keep us in ADA compliance. And there's also any issues that come in with ADA compliance, they will step up and it will be their responsibility to get it fixed. So that's basically the first cost is $57,597, which is what we have budgeted today. And then the second year would be a cost of $26,000. We actually, so this would also be a 2-year contract. So my recommendation is that we move to Civic Plus as a website provider. They've got the best for website migration and content transfer. Most of that will be performed by the vendor. So again, as we're going through, I think one of the critical things here is, do we have the support from the staff to try and do this? Sue Ellen will be a co-driver of this along with Angel Burton, who is our current webmaster. So those two will actually be our key point people in working through this and bringing in staff as needed to go through and work that. They specialize in municipal government websites, and they will do the heavy lifting through most of this. The platform is modern, user-friendly. We spend a lot of time looking at other platforms. Usually, if you go to any other municipality and you ask them about Civic Plus, that's usually at the top of their list for who they would like to go with. They provide ongoing hosting, security updates, technical support. They have extensive experience working with municipalities. They've got a proven track record. And the proposed solution will improve content management capabilities, allowing departments to update information more efficiently. And most importantly is that each of the departments can actually manage their pages. We have, unlike what we have today in Catalyst, we do not have role-based editing, and we can do that. And then also we can actually set this up so that if they do make a change, they can submit it for review, and we can actually have between Sue Ellen and Angel making sure that everything is still compliant. In other words, the branding is the same, and the kind of the content looks like it's kind of uniform going through there. So this platform will allow us to do that. Last page is a timeline. So basically, if we go through with a contract approval next month, they'll assign a project manager on 9/1, and the go live period would be basically 6 months after the contract manager is assigned. So it would be basically March of 2027. And this steps through all the different pieces that they'll go through. They'll start with a kickoff. They'll analyze all of the information, then we'll go through a design phase, and then configuration. They'll optimize, to educate, and then finally we'll go for a live launch in March of 2027. So, I move to award the town website contract to Civic Plus and authorize the first selectman to enter into a 2-year agreement with Civic Plus for website services with costs not to exceed $57,600 in year 1 and $26,000 in year 2, and execute all documents necessary to effectuate the agreement.
Second.
Okay, Richard. Okay.
Quick question.
Yes.
What are we presently paying a year?
So the cost to actually run the website, for them to host it, is $6,000.
Mhm.
And then any other changes that we require are like a la carte.
Mhm.
So, figure like 3,000 or 4,000 depending on the year.
So probably 10,000. So
Okay.
it'll be significantly more. However, we're picking up a lot more capability on there.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not doubting that.
Yeah, no, I'm just,
Look at budget wise, like,
Yeah.
What this means, going forward.
Yep.
Yep.
I have no idea how many pages we have to move over there. You said 200 was in the.
so when they did the first scan on our current website, we have over 400 pages. So not only will we be we're going to be cleaning up a lot because there's a lot of stuff that's in there that we don't need any longer. There's been no culling of old data. He's laughing over there. And there's a lot of pages that are showing up that were actually have been basically decommissioned, and they're still able to be seen in the database. So this is going to be something that, you know, we're going to have to spend a little bit of time trying to get cleaned up. And that'll be some of the things between Sue Ellen and Angel trying to coordinate that. So
Are you confident you get to that 200 figure?
yes, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, because there are actually some pages that should be consolidated. Like, for example, you know, the Board of Finance has a fiscal policy page, whereas, you know, we have other ones. So we should be putting all policies together onto one page and then being able to filter those things, right? So that would, you know, be reducing 5 or 6 pages into one. So I think we'll start getting things a lot more efficient here.
There's one question over there.
Yeah, sure.
I have a question. Belonging to a organization that's a nonprofit, and there are many civic groups that like to schedule events and so forth. And the big problem for a lot of the groups is that some of the getting the information out to the community and getting it so that we're not bumping into each other. Can you keep that in mind?
So actually, Sharon, that is one of the key things of why I looked at this website, because it does allow us to have a common calendar. All right. And so right now, the way that our town is set up is that we actually have a meeting calendar. All right. And we also have a events calendar that's external. And then you go to the library has their calendar, Park and Rec has their calendar, the senior center has their calendar. And the idea of this thing is actually trying to bring all of those things so that we've got one spot. And I know, you know, we have the chair of the arts and culture, and that's one of the things that they're looking at as well, is how do we get to a common calendar? And that's one of the things that Civic Plus will allow us to do, is we can have a common calendar with multiple filters on it. The other thing that the calendar will allow you to do is you can actually subscribe, so that if there are changes, like, for example, if you want to see, you know, any Board of Selectmen changes, so if the meeting changes or something gets posted on there, you can sign up for notifications. And you can, so if you want to just see events that are being added to the calendar or removed from the calendar, you'll get notifications for each one of those things. So it's definitely, and as I had mentioned before, you always had to go in there and pull it, right? And this will actually allow you to set up a push notification on there. So that's definitely something that we're addressing. And one of our requirements when we're looking at vendor websites.
So will you also have recordings like you have, like the report tonight?
Yes, and they'll all be available. Audio will be available. They'll all be stored on there. Basically, you know, we're doing that right now. This recording will actually be up on our YouTube channel once it's done. So it will be available, and we will continue to do live streaming of other boards and commissions. So we'll be able to put all that up on the website as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ed.
Question, are we gonna have this go in conjunction with our .org to .gov conversion?
Yes, that is one of the plans to do that. And that actually, so we're looking at, you know, if we do, we'll go live on this in March 2027. We already have the domain set up. We already have the DNS server that's already set up. So we can definitely move that over to the .gov at that point.
Just thinking, since you're changing all the pages at that time, you
Might as well just do everything all at once. Yep. And that's part of that was part of the plan on this as well. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for the prompt on that. Any other questions from our audience? Anything online? We've only got a couple. Alex is actually our sales guy for Civic Plus. So if anybody has any questions for that. Nope. Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor of awarding the town website to Civic Plus, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. If I could close this and say that you were done. So thank you. Thanks. There was a lot of hard work on us. So we're moving ahead and getting ourselves into the 20th century here, so. Okay, moving on to our next topic, which is donations. Page here. Thank you. All right, so the first item is I move to accept with gratitude a donation of $100 from Annette Rickertson to the Woodbury Senior Center Special Revenue Account. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Next, move to accept with gratitude a donation of $100 from Barbara Seath in memory of Dorothy Dibble to the Woodbury Public Library to be used for library programs and enhancements. Thank you. Any discussion there? None. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Next, to accept with gratitude a donation of $50 from Barbara Sherman in memory of Dorothy Dibble to the Woodbury Public Library to be used for library programs and enhancements. Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Next, to accept with gratitude a donation of $25 from Julia Gottlieb in memory of Dorothy Dibble to the Woodbury Public Library to be used for library programs and enhancements. Discussion? No. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Next, move to accept with gratitude a donation of $20 from Diane Lucarelli in memory of Dorothy Dibble to the Woodbury Public Library to be used for library programs and enhancements.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Just a quick comment today. We noted that we've received several donations to the Woodbury Public Library in memory of Dorothy Dibble, a longtime Woodbury resident and dedicated library volunteer. Dorothy generously gave her time to the library for many years, and these memorial contributions are a meaningful tribute to her commitment to the library and community. The donations will be used to support library programs and enhancements. Thank you for all that contributed in memory of Dorothy. Okay, next is appointments, resignations, and vacancies. We have none. Please go to the website for a complete list of available positions we can use to help. Personnel report, ask Mr. Ray from our personnel administrator. Lost your last name. Sorry about that. A little shot right now. So Ray, if you can take us through.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ray Legassi. I'm your personnel administrator. What I'm going to do for the Board of Selectmen here is to go through the hiring and staffing status report. We do this at every Board of Selectmen meeting. The date of this report is this evening, and the period starts from the last Board of Selectmen meeting, which was June 23rd, through this evening. It covers different sections. The first section that I'm going to go over is positions currently in recruitment. So basically, these are the positions that we are currently advertising for here in town. We are advertising for full-time police officers, part-time police officers, part-time assistant animal control officer, and part-time custodians. So if you have any family and friends that are qualified and would like a job, please have them reach out to us. I'd be happy to talk with them. The next area on the report is positions that are in process. So basically they're either being advertised or not, but I'm currently working those. The first one is part-time police officer. We had one of our full-time officers recently retire, and he elected or he asked permission to stay on as a part-time police officer. So I'm just going through the process with him, and that was John Cavello. The second position is the part-time assistant animal control officer. We do currently have 2 applications that are being reviewed, and our animal control officer is having those discussions with me. The next area of the report is, do we have any open offers out there that we're waiting to hear if they're accepted or not? We do not. And then finally, one of the last areas of the report is offers that have been accepted. The first one is our full-time executive assistant to the first selectman. She's actually sitting at that table right up there. Sue Ellen joined us on July 6th. The next one is a part-time library circulation assistant in the children's area. This is a 9-hour per week position. Caroline Christner joined us on July 15th, and her boss tells me she is fitting in wonderfully. The next one is a part-time custodian for this gentleman sitting next to me. A gentleman named Jason. He has accepted our offer, and he'll be joining us on August 10th. The next two are, I have been working 2 full-time police officer candidates. The town has made offers and they have accepted them. And we are going through the background process with these 2 full-time officers. When we do a background check on a full-time officer, it normally takes about 2 to 3 months to go through the background check. It is very, very thorough to make sure that we are getting the right qualified people to take care of our town. Sean and Cynthia, they're excited to come on board with us, so hopefully everything will work out well. I got news today for our Board of Selectmen that they're going to have their polygraphs done this week. So that's a big step in our process, and we'll have the report next week on the findings. And then finally, now that the fiscal year 26-27 budget has passed, and once we have the Board of Selectmen's approval, the town will begin advertising for a IT technician coordinator, a lead custodian, and a public works equipment operator 3. And that is my report. Any questions at all? Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Okay, we have no old business. Next, we'll go into new business. So the first item is I make a motion to approve the AFSCME Council 4 Council 2693W Police Bargaining Unit contract for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029, as written.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's just so for the folks online and the folks in the room, we had a non-meeting earlier today. Non-meeting meaning FOIA, saying that we can meet as a non-meeting to discuss collective bargaining agreements. And so we met with our labor attorney, so both Karen, Richard, and I, along with Ray and our labor attorney, Joe Suma. We reviewed the contract, and essentially we approved it. So it will be a 3% a year for the next 3 years. And that's probably the largest economic piece in there. There were a few other changes that were in the contract, adjusting some language in there for to meet state statutes. And then also we put in a restriction for folks, the full-time police officers, to utilize cars, taking them home, that they need to live within 30 miles of Woodbury, as well as they're required to answer their cell phones, because one of the benefits of taking the car home is that they will be able to respond directly to a scene from their house. And for them to respond directly to a scene, they need to answer their cell phone. So that was added into the contract. One of the other key changes was the private duty pay. We agreed that the police officers, we had one of the lowest paid rates for private duty. So we agreed to make the modification to that. But one of the agreements that we put in place was that they would not apply those increases to any town events. So we'll be still paying for time and a half for our officers when we do things like Earth Day or Fall Fest, or things that we need. When we did the American 250 celebration at the Hollow, we had police coverage, so that will not be in there as well. So I'm pretty comfortable. I participated in all of those contract negotiations, and we've done it in good faith. I think everyone is, when you do a contract negotiation, if you're both walking out unhappy, but you're walking out, you're in good shape. So, and that's what I think we have here. So, any other comments, questions from my colleagues? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the contract?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So moved. Okay, thank you. All right, we're gonna move through fairly quickly some of the job descriptions. I did provide these to you a while back. So the first one is I move to approve the IT technician coordinator job description as written.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any comments, questions? Just to let you guys know, the technology committee did take a look at this. There were a set of things that they asked to add into this. They thought it was a pretty extensive and basically said, good luck trying to find the guy to manage everything on here. But I think, this is something that we definitely need in the town. Any questions from you guys on that? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So moved. Next is the lead custodian job description. Make a motion to approve the lead custodian job description as written.
Second that.
Okay, anything in here? So this, again, Ed McGrath, basically pulled this whole thing together. We did, make some additions and subtractions on here, but it pretty much, covers everything that Ed's looking for. Any questions, comments on this? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next is the Public Works Working Foreman. So let me start with this. So move to approve the working foreman job description as written.
I'll second that.
Okay. So basically, we were talking to Public Works. And this is part of our contract negotiation as well. One of the things they were asking for was an ability to show operators and maintainers and the ability to move. All right, because right now there's really no way of these folks moving around on this. So the idea, so we did have a meeting with Dave, Director of Public Works, and he had a long discussion with currently all his senior staff over there, and they basically have developed this. And by the way, the union agrees with both of these items as well. They've reviewed this and they fully support everything that we're talking about on here. So the first thing is this would be changing the current supervising foreman that was an open position. We were removing that, and that will now be a working foreman. Basically, the working foreman will still be an hourly person, will still be a member of the Teamsters, and basically providing planning and implementation and direction to the operators and the mechanics. Will not be, creating a budget or anything like that. So will truly still be a non-exempt person, but will basically be somebody out in the field that could take charge and direct what things need to be done. Okay, any questions?
Is this an additional job or is this something that we had planned for?
This is something we had planned for.
Yeah.
So this was actually replacing the supervising foreman with the working foreman.
Okay, so it's just a switch.
It's a complete reclassification of the job itself, right? Going from an exempt person to a non-exempt person,
Yeah.
moving from the supervising union to actually the Teamsters. Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Next is equipment operator 1, 2, and 3. I move to approve the operator 1, 2, 3 job description as written.
Second.
Okay. So again, this was two things that were thought on this. So this is replacing, right now we have two job descriptions in Public Works right now. So there's operators and there's maintainers. Maintainers are not allowed to operate any heavy equipment because they need to be an operator. So for you to try and move from maintainer to operator, there was really no path on how to do that. And the fact that there is no structure in there is, the very experienced people, what are they, there's really no differentiation. So that's really what this is trying to do is actually to remove the maintainer position, make them all operators, so that they are actually, once they learn how to use a tool, they can actually go out and use that on their own. So there'll be a process of being approved to use a tool, basically be certified to use that. And so you'll see there's step requirements. So it's on page 3. Operator 3 is a starting position. To move into operator 2, you need to have 2 years of operator 3. You need to get education. So UConn has this T2 program, which is a traffic program, traffic training. And they have some certification that's in there. One is the Public Works Academy. It requires you to take, I believe, 7 hours of classes. And then you become certified as a Public Works Academy graduate. Then there's a Roadmaster certificate, and that Roadmaster certificate is again taking 7 half-day classes. And there are a set of requireds, and then there's a set of basically separate classes that you can choose. And then there's an equipment evaluation, and there's a list of equipment that we have above that, and then you need to be proficient in 4 pieces of standard equipment and then proficient in 8. And one of the things that we've done is the equipment proficiency will be assessed through an evaluation by an independent public works professional, independent of the Public Works Department in Woodbury. So there's nothing, we're trying to get away from any type of collusion, or if one person doesn't like the other person. This is actually will be something completely independent. We spent a lot of time trying to put this together. There was a lot of activity, and as I said, we reviewed this with the union representatives last week. They're very pleased with what we have in here, so I recommend that we approve that. Any questions from you guys?
Typo on the first line, but other than that.
Wait, I'm missing it. Annie, okay, got it. Thank you. We'll fix that. So I'll amend that to as amended. Should be and. And. Okay, very good. With that change, that we approve this, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So, thank you. All right, last item on the agenda is to review our hybrid meeting policy. So obviously, we're running a hybrid meeting now. One of the things that I think we need to do is we need to lay out specifically what's the purpose of this and what's the policy. And again, there are some key things when we start talking about hybrid meetings. There are a number of things that are required from a FOIA standpoint. One of them is that when we do a hybrid meeting, we need to provide anyone online the same opportunity as if they were attending in person. So if we do have privilege of the floor, they need to be permitted to do that. We also need to, within 48 hours prior to the meeting, we need to publish the link to this. And that's very different from what we currently have today. The content of this can actually go out within 24 hours, but the link needs to be provided. There's also, key things that happen during executive sessions. And so this policy basically describes all of the requirements essentially from FOIA. This will also allow us as members here to actually attend meetings directly and be able to do voting and such. And then one of the things that it calls out is that if we are voting, you need to be on screen. We need to prove that you are the one that actually is saying it instead of, putting your kids or your spouses and saying, that they're voting for you. So there's a couple of key things. So I know that we listed this as a first read, but I'll leave that up to you guys if you want to pursue this a little bit more. But if you're okay, then what we would do is we would move forward with approving this. So your guys' call. You want to cogitate on this a little bit, or you want to move on?
I'd like to read it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so we'll bring this up in our next meeting. Okay. The last item that I thought was the last item, but it's not, is our budget transfer. So. Okay, and the first thing is, I was going to try and get these to you early, but these arrived on my desk at about 6:15. So these are hot off the press. So what I want to do is I want to make the motion, and then we can actually go through and have a discussion on this. So pursuant to section 703A1 of the town charter, budget transfers within a department that are less than $5,000 require the approval of the first selectman. Budget transfers exceeding $5,000 require a recommendation from the Board of Selectmen and approval by the Board of Finance. Therefore, I move that the Board of Selectmen recommend and request that the Board of Finance approve the budget transfers exceeding $5,000 as presented in the budget transfer summary dated July 28th, 2026, and the general fund expenditures report dated July 28th, 2026. Both documents shall be attached to the meeting minutes and incorporated into the public record. Need a second.
One second.
Okay.
Um,
So let me just real quick on this thing. So usually what we've done in the past is what we read every single individual line. We have like 100 of these things. So the thought is let's simplify this whole process and actually go through and take a look at this, and we can have a discussion on that. So that's why I made the motion that I made.
So I handed out two things. The first page is the one that has the green on it, which is basically a high-level budget transfer summary. And then the booklet behind that is a copy of what we usually provide the Board of Finance monthly that also has the budget transfers referenced in them. As there was no process for doing budget transfers before, I just had to come up with one. And I worked with Karen and Paul, and I thank them for their support on that. So what I did first, my first group of budget transfers were if a department could contain the transfer within their own department, just positives and negatives. Those are going to be the first 23. The next couple, there were actually some grants that we received and some related expenses. So we're actually seeing more expenditures in those lines because we didn't budget for getting the grant, nor did we budget for the expenditures. So that is 24, 25, 26. And then 27 to 33, which is now 35, 27 through 35 are the remaining departments that could not cover their own budget transfers. So we did, rather than borrow from another department, we did go to the contingency line with those. And then the last one, every year we've decided to continue the bond payment at the current rate. So the last one is going to be transferring the money for the bond to the capital reserve to help pay ourselves back. So why these are all colored in green as part of our charter, we have to make sure that every department that has transfers, there's two conditions that need to be met. One of them would be not more than 5% of their budget. And for the smaller departments, they add a second condition that says, or greater than $20,000 in total. So the ones that you see in green on the right-hand side all met the 5% or less. And then the two smaller departments that had more than 5%, they were underneath the they were under the $20,000 threshold. So everything can be approved between the Selectmen and the Board of Finance. If you go to the second page, the second report package, that really gets into the details of what the specific line items are. But just high level going through it by department, Selectmen, we actually had an approved increase in Selectmen salaries. That was able to be covered by the opening that Deb left when we were trying to hire Sue Ellen. So that was contained in the department. Elections had some additional expenses due to early voting. And they also had some heavy training requirements and some requirements from the Secretary of the State in terms of different supplies that they needed to have. So that's why they're over. Fiscal department, we're just over with the van court invoices. We did encumber a PO for the cybersecurity grant. So that also is in there too. Assessor small, tax collector small, town clerk, she was able to cover. We do have a grant in there. So the whole, like the amount that we covered within our department is basically $375 to $5,000 is related to the grant. Facilities, we just had a coverage between open positions and additional hours due to some people out on workers' comp and some open positions. Senior services, that's going to be due to a grant that they received. Police department, the main driver on that is our resident state trooper. We actually get the billing and the budget directly from the state of Connecticut, and the state of Connecticut had higher benefits costs for our resident troopers. So that's basically the whole large dollar amount of that one. But they did have some underages, some under budget situations because they have some police officers that need to be filled. We don't have as much overtime as they thought. Fire department was 2 drivers, one of them being just the equipment for the firemen being a lot more expensive. There was also a light bar that was replaced that had gone into the unfunded balance line in there. So that was another variance in there. Emergency management, when we got the contract for Norcom, that was a little higher than budgeted. Highway department, the big driver for that one is just the overtime line. I think that was about $85,000, just due to all the snow activity that we had this past winter.
I'm sorry, just another one. Another heavy driver on that was something that we didn't expect, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
was the radar dam. We had to pay for the inspection of the radar dam, and that was $24,000. That was not in the budget. That was a surprise that came in for that. So that was about 25% of what was the overage there.
Park and Rec was just some line items between additional hours and summer hours. So that was basically those lines. And then fringe benefits and miscellaneous. We had some separation payments, so those are all listed out, higher payouts than we had budgeted for. The separation payments was 45,000. We were over in insurance. We did add additional insurance to the fire department building, and we did find out during the year that we were not insuring through the communication tower, so we added that as well. So that's why those are over budget. So those were the ones that kind of filled out within the departments. The 3 grants, the town clerk historical state grant, that was $5,000. So we'll do a budget transfer between revenue and expense. The senior citizen grant was $7,218, same thing. And then thanks to the careful studying of the grants committee, we did finally find a use for the opioid settlement money, which had purchased all the AEDs. So we were able to recognize some of that revenue, and we had some of that expense, so that also will be transferred. The departments down below are the ones that did not have enough money to cover within their departments. Tax collector was small. Town hall, we had building repairs and maintenance that was driven by the most recent radiator replacement of the generator. Animal control is overdue to payroll costs, which we've been trying to understand a little bit better. They do have more animals that are there full time. Transfer station, they reminded me that their budget was cut last year. So budget was cut, they said by 100,000, so they, I guess, only 15,000 unfavorable. But we continue to monitor the trash costs. Social services was small. Region 14 was a rounding difference. Health department comes to us from the region. And then the bond interest payment was a matter of cents too. Transfer to the capital reserve for the bond. It's gonna be 59,300. Does anyone have any questions?
A lot at you, I know
I
that.
know. Yeah, I just, you were saying payroll costs on the animal control. What is that about?
So we budget Dana at 35 hours per week.
Yeah.
And in order to take care of these animals that have had long-term stays, like one of them was Denali, who had, I believe it was heartworm. So he was like 7 days a week for like months. So you need to let out the animals in the morning. You need to feed them. You need to let them out at night. You need to feed them. When Dana was out on vacation, she needed coverage. We do have weekend help, but when they're unable to come, Dana has to come in and fill in for them. So definitely something that we're looking into a little bit harder.
And you were saying that transfer station, the money that far exceeded like what they were negative that was taken away.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
So we took away,
Too much away.
yeah, right, we should have taken $85,000 away, not 100,000. That's basically what that says. And again, that's, I mean, as you remember from ad hoc and waste advisory, I mean, a lot of that stuff is a pure guess, is because, we don't know how much waste is gonna come in and how much is going out. I mean, we
Yeah.
obviously took that $100,000 away based on the information from the previous year. So again, we'll look at that when we start working on the 27-28 budget. We'll look at utilizing that previous information there. So
I'm not gonna let you say it was a pure guess. We predicted
okay,
pretty well, but it was a prediction.
well, not $100,000 off. So that's 20%. But you're right. I mean, we did think it was going to be 100,000 because based on the previous year's savings and such. So no disrespect to the academic advisory chair, X. Right, any other questions on the transfers? Okay, so again, just to remind you that this is a recommendation to move to the Board of Finance, and they will cover this tomorrow night. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
At 9:47 PM. Thank you very much for everyone attending. For all you guys that stuck it out, awesome. This was a long one. Richard, yep.